Okay, so this time, our topic is about the recruitment strategies and best practice in government agency, particularly for this uh okay. Uh recruitment in government is not simply filing vacancies, no, or filling vacancies. It is selecting public servants who will uphold integrity, competence, and service values. No? Because government positions affect citizen welfare, recruitment must be transparent, fair, and aligned with merit principles. So, a weak recruitment must be transparent, or a weak recruitment process create long-term problems, no? Low performance, corruption risk, and public distrust. Public sector recruitment also faces unique challenges: lengthy hiring timeliness, rigid qualification standards, limited salary competitiveness, and political pressures. That is why best practices matter, no? Because the goal is not only compliance but also attracting capable people despite constraints. So in this topic, we focus on recruitment as a strategic functions and how agencies build talent pipelines, communicate employer value, streamline local processes, and ensure fair selection while protecting public trust and organizational performance. So I will now give the floor, no, to our presenter to discuss effective recruitment strategies and best practices in government service, including realistic approach to attracting qualified applicants, ensure fairness, and improving recruitment efficiency. Okay, so take it away.
Okay, thank you po. So next topic is talent acquisition and management, recruitment strategies and best practices in government services. So, i-define ko po muna what is talent acquisition and management. So dito mahalaga na ang talent acquisition at talent management ay dalawang magkaibang proseso pero magkaugnay. Kasi ang talent acquisition ay nakatuon sa, ah, shall we say, pagpasok ng tamang tao sa organisasyon, habang ang talent management naman ay tungkol sa pagpapaunlad at pagpapanatili nito or sa isang tao. So what is talent acquisition? Talent acquisition refers to the process of identifying, attracting, and hiring skilled individual to meet organizational need. It focuses on long-term human resource planning and finding suitable candidates for position that required specific skills. So, isa itong strategic at long-term process. Hindi ito basta na hiring lang. Kapag may vacant position. Sa government, kailangan i-considered na ang future needs ng ahensya tulad ng makabagong programa or may pagbabago sa polisiya at teknolohiya na developments. So, sa DAR, kung may plano na i-digitalize ang land records, dapat maagang maghanap ng aplikante na may IT or data management skills. So, ibig sabihin, ang acquisition ay naka-anchor sa future direction ng isang ahensya. What is talent management? Talent management is the process of developing, retaining, and motivating employees to achieve the organization's goals. It involves performance management, career development, training, and succession planning. So, ito ay tumutukoy kung paano inaalagaan at dine-develop ang mga empleyado pagkatapos nilang ma-hire. Kabilang dito ang training, performance at evaluation at career progression at retention strategies. So, next one. Challenge in acquisition, talent acquisition. So, competition for top talent, high employee turnover, skills mismatch between applicants and job requirements, limited recruitment budget, maintaining diversity and uh, inclusion. So, ang challenge na kinakaharap ng gobyerno sa talent acquisition, kabilang ito sa mababang compensation kumpara sa um, private sector. Mahaba at komplikado ang hiring process at limitadong recruitment budget. Sa DAR, kung dagdag na hamon ito dahil ang trabaho ay kadalasang nasa malalayong lugar or ah, kadalasan ang mga newly hired is na-de-deploy into other municipalities because yung katulad ng sinasabi ko, ang work namin ay talagang field work. So, dahil dito, mahirapang makakuha at mag-retain ng qualified applicants, lalo na sa field offices. Uh, in our department, meron po talagang tao na ay aplikante, pag during hiring is willing to assign anywhere in North Cotabato. But then again po, kung yung na-hired na po at na-assign sa malayong lugar at medyo delikadong lugar is nagre-resign po ang empleyado. So, yun. Effective talent management practices. So, continuous learning and professional development, regular performance reviews, recognition and reward system, employee engage at communication, succession planning, and mentorship. So, para maging effective ang talent management, hindi lang nakafocus sa evaluation, kundi pati din sa development ng isang tao. So, mahalaga ang regular training, tsaka skills, upgrading, at saka mentoring din. So, sa DAR, ang mentorship programs ay mahalaga para maipasa ang institutional knowledge mula sa senior staff papunta doon sa uh, agrarian reform program technologies or sa mga bagong empleyado. So, nakakatulong ito para din ang recognition system para tumaas din ang moral ng isang empleyado. Relationship between talent acquisition and management. Talent acquisition brings the right people in, while talent management ensures they grow and stay within the organization. Together, they create sustainable workforce that supports long-term success. So, what is recruitment strategy? So, recruitment strategy is a systematic approach devised to effectively and attract and hire the most qualified individual in the vacant position. It will help us to find the best candidates for specific company or agency because the most effective recruitment strategy will be the one that best suited for the agency's specific needs. So I have listed here the best practices. First one, treat candidates like customers. Use social media and digital recruitment tools. So, dati kung yung hindi pa gaanong improve yung ating social media, posting lang on bulletins, if merong hirings, ngayon, pwede na natin gamitin yung mga social medias natin to post any hirings sa isang agency. Implement employee referral program, create compelling job description, establish clear job description. And check resumes posted online, considered past candidates' claim, claim your company page, attend industry-related meetups, tapos promote strong employer brand, ensure fair and transparent selection process, conduct competency-based interview. Next. So what is full recruitment cycle? It is referred to as full life recruiting, encompasses all stages involved in the recruitment process. So, uh, recruitment cycle ay nagsisimula pa bago ang actual hiring. Kabilang dito ang manpower planning, recruitment, selection, onboarding, at post-hiring evaluation. Sa gobyerno, mahalaga ang documentation sa bawat stage para sa audit and accountability. So, how do you set a recruitment goals? So, tandaan lang po natin ang SMART, which is the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So, sa pag-set ng recruitment goals, mahalagang malinaw at measurable ang targets. Ang paggamit ng SMART framework ay nakakatulong para masuri kung epektibo ang recruitment efforts. So, yun lang po. Shukran.
Okay. Best practices recruitment begins with clear job design and accurate qualification standards. Let's say, for example, no, if an LGU needs a records officer, the job description must reflect real task records, classification, retention schedules, privacy compliance. So human resource can select candidates with the correct competencies. Transparent vacancy posting is essential, no? A realistic best practice is publishing vacancies on official portals, posting deadlines clearly, and providing a standardized requirements list. And this reduces favoritism perception and gives equal opportunity to applicants. Talent pipeline strategies help government compete with private sector. For instance, agencies can partner with universities for internship, no, practicum programs, and scholarship to employment arrangement, especially for IT engineering and health fields where shortages are common. Streamlining legal processes improves time to fill. No, a practical improvement is using standardized screening checklists, scheduled batch interviews, and documented scoring rubrics. So this reduces the delays while preserving fairness, no, and audit readiness. So integrity safeguard must be embedded. Let's say, for example, selection panel should use competency-based interviews and documented scoring to reduce undue influence. Conflict of interest declaration for panelists are also a strong practice in sensitive hiring. So recruitment also include inclusion and accessibility. So government should ensure fair access for persons with disability and diverse applicants by providing reasonable accommodation and bias-aware evaluation because this support both legal compliance and, and social equity goals. A common challenge is hiring for specialized rules like cybersecurity. Government can respond by offering non-monetary incentives such as professional development, certifications, meaningful work, and recognition. Plus, clear career pathways to retain the talent. So in summary, recruitment best practices is government protect, merit, improve service outcomes, and build trust. When recruitment is transparent, competency-based, and efficient, agencies gain capable public servants who can deliver results ethically and consistently. Okay, we have question here. The question is, that is a question a while ago. So, in the relevant core pillars and function of HRM in the public, what is your take on prioritizing and giving importance to employee core values and soft skills over the technical? Okay, no, in public sector, human resource management, employee core values and soft skills should be prioritized first. No? Personal, that is my personal, no? Well, technical skills must be ensured and continuously developed. So, in short, hire for values and attitude, train for aptitude within reasonable limits. Ah? So, again, the nature of public service makes core values non-negotiable. So public sector employees exercise authority, discretion, and judgment on behalf of the state. So integrity, accountability, fairness, empathy, and respect for due process directly affect citizens' rights and trust in government. A technically brilliant employee who lacks ethical grounding or service-oriented can cause more harm than good through abuse of authority, indifference to citizens, or resistance to accountability. So, soft skills are central to how public service are experienced. In frontline rules especially, such as this licensing, social services, healthcare, education, and regulatory enforcement, citizens do not experience technical competence. First, no, they experience behavior. So communication, empathy, emotional relationship, or emotional regulation, conflict management, and professionalism determine whether services are perceived as fair, humane, and responsive. In this sense, attitude is not a nice to have, it is core performance driver. So, from governance and risk perspective, values-based HRM reduce long-term institutional risk. Ethical lapses, corruption, discrimination, and abuse of discretion are rarely caused by lack of technical knowledge. So they are always, or almost always, rooted in poor values, weak moral judgment, or toxic organizational culture. So prioritizing core values in recruitment, promotion, and performance appraisal act as a preventive control in public governance. So, that said, this does not mean technical skills are less important, but public administration increasingly requires specialized competencies. Policy analysis, IT recruitment, of course, finance, health, no, engineering, and data analytics. In roles where errors can cause legal, financial, or safety consequences, a minimum level of technical competence is non-negotiable. So the key principle is threshold competence. Candidates must meet technical requirements, but selection and advancement should differentiate primarily on values and soft skills. From the strategic human resource management standpoint, no, technical skills are often more teachable than values. Skills can be upgraded through training, mentoring, certification, experience. Core values and attitudes such as integrity, humility, accountability, and service orientation are much harder to instill once an employee is already embedded in the system. This is why I believe values-based recruitment and behavioral interviews are increasingly emphasized in advanced public human resource management. So, in the long-term sustainability of public institution, culture outlasts competence. Technologies change, policy evolve, and skills become obsolete. But organizational values shape how institutions respond to change, crisis, and public scrutiny. A values-driven workforce is more adaptable kasi, resilient siya, saka trustworthy. So, ang bottom line dyan, in public sector, human resource management, attitude should lead and aptitude should follow. No? Not because skills are unimportant, but because values determine how skills are used. The most effective public organizations ensure technical competence while deliberately prioritizing core values and soft skills as the foundation of ethical, citizen-centered, and sustainable public service. Okay. Personal viewpoint ko po yun, ha.